Tack Talk with Paul from the Western Experience.
Hey, welcome to Tack Talk. I'm Paul, and today we're going to talk about saddle trees and maybe debunk a few myths about how to measure a saddle tree. How many times have you been on Marketplace or a saddle sale site and you see a picture with somebody holding a tape in front of a saddle? What does that tell you? Are they trying to tell you the gullet width? It really is kind of a useless measurement. The gullet width is actually measured on a bare tree before the saddle tree is made, and it's measured right at that point where the gullet and the bars meet. And for example, this is a 7-inch gullet on this saddle. So that measurement is kind of difficult to do after the skirts are put on the saddle and the saddle is covered and everything else. So really you'll have to, if you're going to take a measurement, you can use it maybe more for comparing one saddle to another, but you can't actually get a true gullet measurement after the saddle is built. The other thing that's probably more important than that gullet width, people all get hung up on that gullet width. I need a 7-inch gullet. It's more the angle that the tree is built at. And then you have another measurement called the bar spread. That's at the bottom of the bars. This is the bars of the saddle, or the portion that runs from front to back. Really what's important is we're trying to make as much contact on that horse's back as we can. We'd like that entire bar to make contact with the horse, both the angle and then what we call the rock. That's that curve in the bar. So those are really the two things that are most important. Gullet width, some manufacturers actually will leave the gullet width the same and change the angle of the bar to accommodate a wider horse. And this makes a lot of sense because today's horses typically haven't gotten wider, they've gotten rounder. And so in order to accommodate that back a little better, if we open up this angle, it'll actually lay on the back better. So really what we're trying to do is make contact the entire length of the bar, and we want the angle to match the angle of the horse's back. If you were to put a saddle on your horse, let's imagine this is our horse here. We'll find that shoulder and sometimes even turn the horse's head a little bit. You'll find that shoulder. The point of the bar needs to be just behind that shoulder. We don't want it resting up. If this is the shoulder, we don't want it resting up on the shoulder. So we want it just behind the shoulder, and then that's where we're trying to make that contact the entire length of the saddle. So if you see a saddle fitter or yourself, they're running their hand under there, they're really checking to see where we make contact. And are we losing contact through the center here? That's oftentimes called bridging. That's where we're making contact here and here. So that tells us if we're losing contact, we might need a saddle with a little more rock. We may need a saddle tree that's a little wider to let it drop down onto the horse's back a little bit to increase contact. So lots of variables there, but don't get hung up on gullet width as much as the fit. And then a lot of saddles today, especially the newer trees, have what we call more flare to them. So this comes out and will actually flare off of the horse slightly, allowing us a little more shoulder movement, less apt to interfere when the horse is turning, that type of thing. So a good flare to the tree is certainly a nice feature to have. I think it just kind of sits down on the back a little bit nicer there as well. Same thing when it comes to measuring the length of the seat. That is a measurement that's done before the saddle is built on the bare tree. So that's also a bare tree measurement. This would be a 16-inch seat. So if you're going to measure a seat of a saddle after it's built, you kind of have to use a little bit of a guesstimate, if you will, to kind of figure out where the cantle would be, and so of the actual tree. So this measures 16 inches. Let's take a peek and see, and that's exactly what this saddle manufacturer says it is a 16-inch seat. So basically from just below the horn to the edge of the cantle, kind of imagine where the tree would be, not where the padding starts, but where the actual tree is, and that will tell us it's a 16-inch seat. So seat measurement and gullet width are both measurements that are done on a bare tree. But don't get so hung up on these measurements that people will give you. It's really more a matter of the saddle needs to fit the back of the horse. The other thing that a lot of people say, well, what's the difference between a wide tree and a full quarter horse tree? They're basically the same thing. It's just two ways of describing that wider gullet. Usually that's a 7-inch gullet with a nice angle to it. The semi-quarter tree or regular or medium tree typically are also all the same description for the same tree, and that fits your average quarter horse. The horse that's not too wide, has a pretty predominant or a fairly good wither, so that fits them pretty well. Even those saddles, the newer ones, will have a nice flare to the medium or regular quarter horse tree. So with that in mind, really what you want to do is pay attention to where you're positioning the saddle on the horse's back and where you're making contact, and that will help you determine the tree size. So don't get too hung up on gullet width or specific measurements. It's more how the saddle's going to sit on the horse's back. Hey, thanks for watching this Tack Talk. Next time we're going to talk about how do we fit a saddle to you.
Please subscribe for another Tack Talk feature with Paul, coming soon.